Islamophobic abuse, intimidation, threats to mosques. Also, people are coming together in a show of solidarity. The contrast this week. Today's Friday prayers will hold extra significance, of course, for many.
Earlier on the programme, we spoke to Cabinet Officer Minister Nick Thomas-Symonds, and he said the government is committed to protecting Muslim communities.
We will do everything we can to keep them safe. I delivered that message personally yesterday when I was out in Bristol talking to them. I had walk around Bristol, understanding exactly from them what their anxieties were. Look, in our country, we will keep everybody safe. That is absolutely what this government will do. The safety of our citizens is the first priority of any government.
So let's speak to the chair of the Mosques and Imams National Advisory Board, Imam Qari Asim, and campaigner and faith advisor, Dr. Julie Siddiqui. Very good morning to both of you. I just wonder, Imam Qari Asim, I don't know if you could hear. Could you hear Nick Thomas-Symonds a moment ago talking about those reassurances? I wonder what you make of his comments.
Yeah, I think there's a deep concern, anxiety, fear, anger amongst the Muslim communities because of the recent wave of far-right protests. And the government message has been really reassuring. And it's important that actually the scale and the nature of Islamophobia, anti-Muslim hatred is understood in this country. There are members of my congregation and congregation across the country. They are having to think twice whether they can attend mosque, especially in the evenings. Women are having to think twice whether or not they can send their children or themselves. They can go to the mosque themselves. In this day and age, and in our country, no one should be fearing to go to a place of worship which are sanctuaries.
Yeah, I just wonder, I mean, I know there was some relief that events on Wednesday did not turn out as some people had feared. But in the same breath, I'm thinking that what you're saying has suggested it's sowed a seed, hasn't it, of concern for many people. And in a practical way, what are you doing? What are people doing at mosques to try and move beyond that whilst acknowledging that this happened?
Yeah, mosques have stepped up their security arrangements. There is extra policing. There is now the government's security funding scheme. All of that has helped to reassure communities and to alleviate some of the concerns that the members of the Muslim community has. But also, I think what's really hopeful that actually, although we saw the worst of Britain last week, we also saw the best of Britain. People of all faiths and backgrounds and beliefs came together to rebuild Britain. And that's what characterizes Britain, not the violence and the thuggery and the racism that we saw on our streets or attack on mosques, but rather it's cleaning up the streets, repairing the damage, and also enhancing community relations. What has been so heartening for Muslims is that people knocking on their doors, people reaching out to them, people going across their fences and barriers to ask people how you are. And that is what really it makes us proud to be Brits. And this is the rich tradition that we must preserve in this country, the diversity that has enabled us all to live in a multi-faith, multi-ethnic, multicultural society. And we must ensure that that carries on. I also want to acknowledge, I think all of the protesters were not racist or thugs. There is a line to be drawn between violence and people having genuine, legitimate concerns about immigration. And all of us have those concerns. We have a rich tradition of dealing with those concerns democratically, peacefully. And mosques have actually opened their doors despite nervousness, despite fear, to some of the protesters saying, please, come on, let's have a cup of tea and discuss some of the concerns that we have. We did that at Makkah Mosque in Leeds, and we realized actually, when we discuss issues, we realize we have a lot more in common than that which divides us, and that's what must be celebrated.
Dr. Julie Siddiqui, let's talk about what happens today, Friday prayers. Many people will be familiar with this and what happens, but on a day after a week like this, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so as Asim said, this has been very triggering. People are feeling fearful. I think, people didn't expect to see some of the racism on the streets that they saw in the 70s and 80s. And I think that's been quite shocking for people. I also think people have been shocked by the speed in which the galvanizing was able to happen through social media, etc. So I think there is definitely that fear. We are, helping to pull together mosques around the country who wanted to have events today and show solidarity on the back of what Imam Asim said, the outpouring of love and support and offering of help that people have been receiving in mosques and individually all over the country. So we've got events today happening in mosques around the country, small, intimate, local events with people, neighbours, people of different faiths, etc. And it's also been supported across the spectrum from Priti Patel to Angela Rayner, from rabbis, the Archbishop of Canterbury, to all sorts of wonderful people saying, look, we need to stand together with our Muslim communities. And Friday prayers just felt like the right day to do that. And that's what we're doing today.
And of course, messages to communities. There's been so many reports of communities coming together. How important has that been to you as a Muslim?
Yeah, look, it's really heartening. It's very humbling. It's very heartwarming. The building of the mosque outside, the wall outside the mosque, and the flowers and cards that people have given. And sometimes people don't always think they know how to show support, but actually those text messages, those emails, I've had hundreds of them. I know Imam Asim has also, and so many of us have, and it's really heartwarming, reassuring. And it shows me again actually what our country is about. This is Team GB, right? This is it, the kind of helping each other, supporting each other. And very much as Asim said, when there are grievances, we need to know how to deal with those. This isn't the way, but coming together, supporting each other, celebrating our diversity and our messiness and all of what we have to offer this country, that's really what this is all about. And I think that it's been very heartening, while also remembering that people still feel fearful and frightened and shocked, actually, by what they saw over the last week or so.
Dr. Julie Siddiqui, thank you very much for your time with us here on Breakfast. And Imam Qari Asim, thank you very much as well.